Hello and welcome to Saints Live. I'm Steve Forbes.
And I'm Kenzie Benali.
And we're back for another night under the lights here at St Mary's as Southampton take on Leicester in the Premier League.
Yes, indeed. And it's December, which means that the festive fixtures are going to come thick and fast. But of course, our focus tonight is, of course, on the match here at St Mary's.
It is indeed. But speaking of thick, Kenzie, explain this coat.
I knew he was going to go after me. Listen, I'm not taking any chances, Steve.
It is a bit nippy out here. Now, unfortunately, they can't be with us in person for a pinch or a punch to mark the start of the month. But we do have joining us former Saints captain Dean Hammond and NBC lead soccer writer Joe Prince-Wright via the power of Zoom. Joe, it does look like you're in the stands at St Mary's. We can probably see if I turn around. First time in a while you've been here, though.
Yeah, it's great. Great to see you guys from afar. Yeah, really looking forward to this one. The wind is whipping around. The rain is starting to lash down. I don't know where that's been all day long, but yeah, lovely to be back. I feel like there's a real buzz and a vibe in the city ahead of this game, and everyone realises how much of a massive opportunity and a big game this is for Saints to set down a marker for the busy festive period. So always great to be back at St Mary's under the lights, and yeah, loving it. Thanks for having me, guys.
And Dean, it's one of your old teams tonight, Leicester. Any switching allegiances at all?
Of course not, Steve. You know that. You can't ask me that question. No, fully behind Southampton tonight. Nice and warm at home as well, so that's nice as well. But look, like Joe said, looking forward to the game. I think it will be an entertaining game. But yeah, going by my score predictions, I'm not sure I'll get it right. But yes, I'm looking forward to the game.
Oh, well, glad you're in the warm there, Dean. And before anyone takes the mick anymore out of my jacket, I'm going to jump straight in because team news is coming your way in just under 15 minutes' time. Now, we know that Stuart Armstrong is still unavailable. Everyone else could be selected, though. That's the good news, with Moy Elianusi and Ibrahima Diallo back and available. Now, Joe, Ralph did show bold intent with his team selection against Liverpool. Were you expecting him to return to that familiar 4-2-2-2 formation tonight?
I think so, Kenzie. I think he really has to go back to that just for some solidity and some reliability in the performance. You could see at half-time when Saints went back to that 4-2-2-2 against Liverpool, they looked a lot more comfortable, a lot more at ease, just on the ball, off the ball. They've played that way for so long now that it just suits these players that have been recruited really well. Everyone knows their job. So it was a bit surprising. I can understand some reasons why you would do it at Liverpool. Some would say it's a bit of a free hit, give some of the young players an experience of going after a big dog in the Premier League. But yeah, I think it's going to be a return to that solid 4-2-2-2, solid back four. Might be a little bit early to bring Jack Stevens back in, but great to see him back in training. And I'd have the reliable heads of Ward-Prowse and Romeo in midfield. And then really looking forward to seeing Nathan Redmond and Mohamed Al-Yunusi come back in, because I think what you have to do is pick the right combinations. I mean, that's really key because Saints have got the balance right at times this season, and you have to get the right players playing next to each other. I remember a few times when Brower and Redmond were playing up top together, they connected really well. But then that's harsh. Do you leave Shea Adams or Adam Armstrong out because they've done well in stages? So Ralph almost has two options, and I think we kind of saw that at the weekend, that he almost overthought it and maybe just second-guessed himself when he should have just gone for something quite simple. And I'm hoping, and I think he will do that tonight against Leicester City.
Yeah, Dean, I think we can agree we're a little surprised by Ralph's choices at Anfield. How are you expecting the boss to line up tonight?
Well, like Joe's just mentioned, like you've mentioned, Steve, I think back to the normal formation. I think you go back to the normal structure, and the players fully understand that. Like Joe just mentioned, I thought it was very, very brave from the manager, and at times they did cause Liverpool some problems and did open Liverpool up. So I could understand the thinking behind it. But I think tonight against Leicester at home, where Southampton have been pretty successful and good this season, we'll go back to the normal formation. Within the formation, what individuals will play, I think that will be interesting as well. It's a midweek game that we've not had this season within the league. So the condition of the players, will the manager make changes there? You've probably got 5 or 6 players that within the squad that are on the bench. So we're thinking, I deserve the opportunity to play, which is brilliant for the manager because there's competition for places. I think there's 4 or 5, maybe 5 players that are automatic selections and have deserved that. But around that, it will be very, very interesting. You know, Nathan Redmond, I think, will come back into the team. I think that's right. I think he's been very influential and been a real spark this season. But what two you play up front, I think that will be a headache for the manager. Do you go for the enforced Shay Adams? But Brower looked dangerous at the weekend. Adam Armstrong, again, had some good moments at the weekend and got opportunities to score, didn't take them, but got into those areas. And then Elanusi, who could come back in, who's had a very good season and plays that role very, very well. So it will be interesting to see, and I'm looking forward to the team selection, but I think it will be back to the normal formation, an attacking formation, and try and take Leicester City on tonight.
Well, before we talk in more depth about Southampton and indeed Leicester, let's look back to when the two sides met last season, a 1-1 draw that was full of drama.
We know Leicester are good. Let's not beat around the bush. On paper, they're favourites for this game against Saints. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Bertrand missing, and that's a great ball from Vestergaard, and Walker-Peters is in. This could be his first Saints goal, and it is! But the flag's gone up, he's offside. Oh dear, oh dear. And they've got the FA Cup final to look forward to, so they play Chelsea twice.
Well, that's the icing on the cake for them, isn't it?
Yeah, but the Champions League will be the one as if they give the ball away, and then Vestergaard could be in trouble. Vardy goes down, it could be a red. He got caught on the ball by Vardy just outside the penalty area. It's a red card. But he got the ball, Dave. Have another look. I'm not sure it is a foul. He actually gets the ball. As indeed, he plays it on the half-turn beautifully into Iheanacho. And then the shot from an angle by Tielemans.
That's a good save.
Well saved by McCarthy. It's 0-0. Approaching the hour mark. Takes it back to Armstrong, who fires it against Leicester bodies. And there's huge screams for a handball. And the referee says yes. And Saints have a penalty. 10-man Southampton have a penalty. Ward-Prowse fires the penalty, and he has his 8th league goal of the season. And Ndidi puts it into the back stick. Can't get it to them, but it comes out to Perez. Right-footed and parried over this time by McCarthy. That was on target from the Spaniard. This time a clever ball curled, and that is the equaliser. Flag stays down. It was a lovely ball in. They've got problem now, and they've been stretched, and here's Vardy to the left. He's onside, checks onto his right foot and saved by McCarthy. He's got his whistle to his mouth, and that's it.
That's a great result.
Highlights there of last season's game here against Leicester. Now, the big decision of that match was a red card for Yannick Vestergaard after 10 minutes. We've actually got the same referee here tonight, Joe. Do you think he got it right?
Yeah, I don't think you can really have any complaints seeing that back again. I mean, Yannick lost control of the ball when it was played back to him, as we can see. And then he was just panicking, really. Dived in. I mean, Jamie Vardy is the last player you want in that situation to be latching onto that. Obviously, caught him right on the ankle. Was the ball going away from him and to the goalkeeper? Potentially, but I still think it was a clear goal-scoring opportunity. So I really don't think you can argue with that one. The only saving grace in that situation was obviously outside the box. It wasn't a penalty kick, but it was, really, really, it's a nasty tackle when you see it. He's caught him right on the ankle. I really don't think you can have any complaints. But, yeah, what a lively game that was. And hopefully we have a lively game tonight, but none of that red card situation early on, because it really did turn the game in Leicester's favour. But Saints battled really hard to that draw last time out.
Well, that man, Yannick Vestergaard, and indeed Ryan Bertrand, may well be lining up against us this evening. Dean, what is it like coming up against a former teammate? Is it a bit of an advantage because, you know more about them? Or are there any teammates that stand out in your mind that you've faced previously?
Depends who you're coming up against, Kenzie. Depends if you've got a good relationship, if you got on well at the club that you play together at. I think it can be an advantage because you'll know each other very, very well. You think of the amount of times you train together, you'll know each other's weaknesses, you know each other's strengths. And I was trying to think of players that I could play against, that I did play against. And I've just remembered a couple. I remember playing against Adam Lallana when I was at Leicester. We played against Liverpool away at Anfield. And obviously I trained with Adam. I know what a top class player he was, and I knew I was in for a test. So yeah, tried to get very tight to him, tried to get a few tackles in early to make him aware that I was in the game, and tried to talk him and put him off his game because he was such a talented player. So I think if you get on well with someone, you can really enjoy the game. I think if you're going back to a former club, you do put some pressure on yourself. There is an expectation for yourself maybe to want to prove a point. Again, that depends on how you left the club, what the relationship was. So I think you can have some fun with it, Kenzie, but also you maybe do want to prove a point and just show that I am a good player. Hopefully you'll remember me, but yeah, afterwards handshakes. But when you're on the pitch for that 90 minutes, it's all about winning and all about competing. So yeah, it's an interesting experience.
With Yannick potentially lining up against the Saints tonight, Joe, how would you sum up his time on the South Coast?
Steve, I think it was really up and down, really typical roller coaster career. Very shaky start when he first came in under Mark Hughes, and a lot of just sluggish performances. But then I think in 2020, during the lockdown period especially, really came into his own. We saw him reading the game well. His distribution was excellent out of the back and gave Saints a whole new dimension to build attacks, as we're seeing here as well. Some of his finishes from set-piece situations, he was really dangerous. And obviously, he's a huge man. He gets on the end of a lot of crosses, as we're seeing here. And he never really kicked on from this, because I think halfway through last season, when he got into 2021, his form really dipped. Obviously, he had a few injuries that he picked up. And yeah, it was really up and down, as I said. But I think all things considered, he had a decent Saints career. It worked out well for everyone. He got settled into the Premier League. Saints got a decent transfer fee from Leicester for him. He's got to move on to a club where he's playing in the Europa League. And I was covering the Euros for NBC Sports over the summer, watched him closely with Denmark, especially in the European Championship semi-final. And he just could just tell he wasn't quite comfortable, and at his best, he had Raheem Sterling running at him. And I just think maybe he lost a bit of confidence last season. I think he's a real confidence player, Yannick Vestergaard. When he's on it, he's spraying those 50, 60-yard passes, running into midfield, and he can be a real ball-playing centre-back. But yeah, he's got to get his positioning right. I think it'll take him a little while to get settled at Leicester, just like he did at Southampton. But overall, decent signing. And yeah, I think, as I said, it was a good time for everyone that he moved on from Southampton in the summer.
Well, Dean, Ryan Bertrand also moved on from Southampton in this summer. What did you make of his time at the Saints, and also how he started life as a Leicester player?
We'd have to say, Kenzie, that he had a fantastic time at Southampton, really. If you look at a League Cup final, 2 FA Cup semi-finals, I believe, made around 250 appearances for the club, was in teams that finish, in the top 8 of the Premier League, one of the most successful Southampton teams. And individually as a player, defensively very strong. Attacking wise, I love to attack and get down that left wing, had a lovely left foot. So I think he was a fantastic servant to the football club and very influential. As I understand it, a really strong personality within the dressing room, would help other players, would help younger players coming through. So it was a good example. And like any players, he would have had his up and down at the football club. He would have dipped in and out of form. But as you can see from the highlights, scored some fantastic goals, created some amazing assists, and was a good player for Southampton. Was it 6-7 seasons? Kind of made that left back position his own, and moved on to another club, which happens in football. And his career at Leicester so far has been a little bit slow, if I'm honest. I think he's made 8 or 9 appearances for the club, mainly within Europe. I think he's had a couple of injury problems, but that happens as you're coming towards the later stages of your career. But he's still got that quality. He's got that experience which Leicester will need, and that experience where he can help players like Luke Thomas at Leicester, who's a younger player coming through, who's a very good player at left back. So it's a good signing from Leicester, I think, and the right time for him to leave Southampton. I think he'd done enough, and he was kind of, I'm not saying he got stale, but I think it was a good move for him and a good move for the football club, and just to freshen it up and look something different. But he'll look back with real joy at Southampton and career, and hopefully gets a very good welcome tonight.
Most definitely. Well, under a minute to go now until we bring you the team news for tonight's fixture. And lots of you watching along at home, sending us in your comments from all over the globe, actually, which is always great to see. So let's get to some of those comments now, shall we? Andy Webb is with us. Hello to you. He says, come on, you Reds. Gal Sampson is also on the live stream. She says, make it a great win, please, Saints. Watching from South Africa. Wow, lovely place. Roger Hagman is also with us. He's going for a 1-0 win to the Saints tonight. That would be nice, Roger. Paul, hello, good evening. He says, come on, guys, play like you can and get those points. Colin Reed, he says, very confident of a comfortable win. He's going for 2-0. Greetings from Madrid. Alexander is also joining us. He says, up the Saints from Norway. Thanks for your company. And time for one more from Patrick. He says, we need a win. Thank you very much for those comments. Keep sending those in to us. But for now, it is time to get to the team news. Let's have a look at how Southampton line up to take on Leicester this evening. It does seem as though Ralph has reverted to that 4-2-2-2 formation. So this is your Saints team in full. In goal, Alex McCarthy. At the back, Tino Livramento, Jan Bednarek, Mohamed Salisu and Carl Walker-Peters. In midfield, Oriol Romeu, James Ward-Prowse, our captain. And the front four is made up of Nathan Teller, Nathan Redmond, Adam Armstrong and Shay Adams. The Southampton substitutes then are as follows: Fraser Forster, Jan Valery, Roman Perro, Lianco, Will Smallbone, Musa Gineppo, Moy Elianusi, Armando Broja and Shane Long. Now let's come to you first then, Dean. This is a formation that we know has worked well for Southampton in the past. Obviously it was a bold team that Ralph started with against Liverpool, but it feels comfortable going into this one with this team, don't you think?
Yeah, that's right, Kenzie. I think, it goes back to the formation that the players are very, very comfortable with, that they really understand. And if you look at from the selection, I think it's really exciting. Very, very attacking. Lots of pace in the team, especially in wide areas. And the wide players in Nathan Redmond and Teller will get opportunities, in one-on-one situation, in one-on-one duels, and they're strong in those moments. So exciting, like the partnership of Shay Adams and Adam Armstrong. I think that is the most natural and the best pairing at the moment. I think they're working well together and growing that relationship, so they would cause Leicester problems and Leicester have frailties at the back. So I like the team that the manager's picked. He looks as though he's going to try and score goals tonight, an obvious thing to say, but I think that's where Leicester's weaknesses and Southampton can exploit that. So exciting to see that team, and I'm sure the players will think, under the lights tonight, let's move the ball quickly, let's create opportunities, let's play at a pace, play at a really high tempo and put Leicester under pressure. And there's lots of, athletic ability within that team.
Yeah, most definitely. And Joe, Dean used the word exciting there a couple of times. And I think the fans will be excited by this team. Nice to see Nathan Redmond back and Nathan Teller getting a start as well tonight.
Definitely. I think so many Saints fans have been calling for Nathan Teller to get a good run in the team. And Ralph has said it will come. Stay patient. He's working hard. And yeah, it's really good to see that some of the appearances he's had off the bench have really worked in his favour, it seems, and pushed him up the depth chart. And obviously him and Redmond are so exciting. They're going to get on the ball. They're going to run at Leicester's fullbacks. I think both of their fullbacks, I'd argue, are better going forward than they are defensively in their lineup. So that's really an area where they can get on the ball, get at them. And I think that front four there, that will be quite fluid because Adam Armstrong and Shay Adams, they like to work the channels and move all around and connect with the players in behind them. And I think that Nathan Teller and Nathan Redmond have played up top centrally as well. So they're quite comfortable moving into those central areas a bit higher up the pitch. So that'll be a lot of movement in the front four there, cause a lot of problems for Leicester City. And the rest of the team, as you guys said, I'm really, really happy they've gone back to a 4-2-2-2. Familiar faces at the back. Carl Walker-Peters coming back in at left back. I think he really deserves to start because maybe he's one of those players that we take for granted a little bit. When he's out of the team, you really, really miss him. Naturally, he's not a left back, of course, and we see that sometimes when he gets in advanced positions, maybe the final pass or cross or shot isn't quite there yet, but it's still a new position to him. But what he does bring you is the ability to get higher up the pitch. He's comfortable on the ball, he can carry it and get Saints on the front foot, and that's what they need to do from the first whistle tonight. We know they start games well, but they really have to convert that into goals and creating big chances early on against Leicester.
Now, Dean, you highlighted that it is an attacking lineup for Southampton, but a lot's been made in the media about the lack of goals for the Saints. In the league, 11 out of 13, which is the second fewest in the table. But when it comes to shots, they're ninth. So what's going wrong in front of goal, if anything, for you?
Well, like you say, Steve, it's a potential concern. 11 goals in 13 games as a team, as players, as a manager, you would like more. But I don't think it's a huge concern. There's more concern if you're not creating opportunities, if you're not creating chances. Then I think you really need to review things and analyse why you're not. But if you look at the highlights, that there's opportunities here for all different players as well, which I think is really healthy. It's not just falling to one player, and Southampton are not relying on one player. So if you continue to get opportunities, if you continue to create like Southampton are, they will score goals 100% because the players have that quality. Is there a little bit of expectation? Is there a little bit of pressure because you are going games without scoring? Yes. Do they get reminded of that? I'm sure they do. But if you look at it from the other angle as well, Southampton defensively have improved a lot. You know, there's more clean sheets this season. The team looks more solid. So I think it's about now developing that balance between, can we be defensively strong to be able to stay in games, to have the foundation, to then creating a little bit more. And when we do create those chances, can we be ruthless? And you've got to look at the forwards as well. They're a little bit younger. Shay Adams, still a young player. Adam Armstrong, still a young player. Brower, still a young player. So they're developing their game and they're learning. And I'm sure as the season goes on, if Southampton continue to create these chances, they will score more goals and win more games. So I'd be more happy that they look defensively strong and then you can build from the back. That's what successful teams do.
Well, Dean touched on it there, but at the other end of the pitch, 13 games, 5 clean sheets so far for Southampton. That's 4 more than tonight's opponents, Leicester. Joe, if you had to pick, if everybody was fit, who is Southampton's best back four for you?
Really good question, Kenzie. Really good question. I would probably go with Tino Livramento at right back, Jack Stevens and Mohamed Salisu as the 2 centre-backs, and Carl Walker-Peters at left-back. I think that's the strongest back four. Why am I saying that? I think Jack Stevens and Salisu just really work well as a partnership. We saw that early in the season when there was a lot of clean sheets. Stevens is aggressive, likes to step out of the back line, and then Salisu covers, and it just works really well. They dovetail really, really well. But the key to that defensive stability and then getting on the front foot is that Saints need 2 attacking fullbacks, and we've got that in Livramento and Carl Walker-Peters in the strongest back four for me, and starting tonight, because when they get forward, Romeo and Ward-Prowse, then obviously they're deeper. They can sit in and plug the gaps out wide and shuffle over and fill in for the attacking fullbacks. So I think that's the best balance back four for me, and it's no surprise to me that Saints have been just much better defensively this season, because that was a key focus for Ralph Hasenhüttl over the summer months in pre-season. That's what he kept saying time and time again. We have to get better defensively. We have to stop making these big mistakes. And just seeing the VT that we ran before, the big chances missed. I mean, defensively, Saints have done a really good job, but it's at the other end of the pitch where really there's 4 or 5, maybe 6 clear-cut scoring opportunities that should have been put away this season. And if Saints would have converted those chances, you'd be talking about them being in the top 10 of the table. So they have made that defensive improvement, and now it's about the balance and getting the attacking part of the game right. But yeah, my back four: Livramento, Stevens, Salisu, and Walker-Peters.
Well, Dean, it would be rude not to pose the same question to you. If everyone's fit, who would your back four be?
Interesting one, Steve, because I think there's lots of options for the manager. I think you have to give full credit to Salisu. I think, to be honest, he'd be my first pick. I think he's been fantastic this season. I think he's going to continue to improve as a player. I think I saw a stat during the week that he's had the most interceptions in the Premier League from any player or any defender, which is a huge improvement. He's very, very aggressive. So he would be first choice. Livramento, I think, has made the right back position his own. I think, again, he's been fantastic. Going forward, he's a joy to watch. He really, really is. And at the beginning of the season, that wasn't an easy decision for the manager, because Carl Walker-Peters last year was fantastic. So I think those two are definites. And then, like Joe said, you've got Jack Stevens, who again started the season very, very well. But Bednarek, when he plays well and he's on form, I think he's a very, very good defender. He can have those inconsistent moments and there's errors that happen. But I think if he's on his game, I would play Bednarek. I think he's an international. I think he's got good Premier League experience. And I think with him and Salisu, I think they've worked very, very well together. And they've had a lot of clean sheets together. And the left-back position, it's a tough one for me, because I'd want to see, as a left-back, a left-footed player playing there. I think that's natural. I think that gives the balance. But Carl Walker-Peters, as Joe said, going forward gives you that extra option. He's that attacking threat, which I think is needed within the Southampton team. So I think I would go Livramento, Bednarek, Salisu, and a left-footed Carl Walker-Peters. So if you could do that. But yeah, Carl Walker-Peters at left-back, I think, at the moment.
All right, so you've both gone for KWP. Great to see him back in the starting lineup. But actually, someone who seems to be getting all the love on social media is Nathan Teller. So many comments coming in about fans just delighted to see him starting tonight. Let's get through a couple of those now. Peter on YouTube has said, let's see what Teller can do. Plenty of pace. James Capps is buzzing with the lineup. He says superb lineup. Ava Whitfield says Starboy Teller. The love keeps coming for him. Nicholas says hashtag Teller time. We've got a comment here from Ewan on Twitter. He's just put Teller and the love heart emoji eyes. Andrew Williams says, come on Saints, we need to win this game. Oliver Kirby's also got in touch. He says, finally, Starboy playing. Come on boys, let's get 3 points. And a comment here from Russ as well. Hello to you. He says he's happy with the starting lineup. We definitely need to start building more points. Adam and Shay, we need you on fire tonight. So it certainly feels like there's a buzz about the fans watching along at home, and indeed from around the stadium here tonight as well. But Joe, how do you assess both sides, how they're getting on at the moment? Southampton currently sitting in 16th, Leicester in 10th. I think it's fair to say that both teams would be aiming to finish a little higher in the table.
Yeah, I think both teams, as you said, will probably be saying we want to be 4 or 5 places higher at least. And Leicester, they're built, as we've seen the last few seasons, to push for the top 4 and at the very least be in the top 6, which is an incredible achievement for them. And a lot's got to be said about their recruitment and how well they've just brought in a new philosophy under Brendan Rodgers and just been very, very consistent. So Leicester be pushing for that. And for Southampton to be a top 10 team or a very solid mid-table team, that's got to be the aim this season. So I think both teams will be a little bit unhappy with the way things have gone so far. Maybe don't feel that they've got the results some of their performances have deserved. But that being said, I don't think they'll be too concerned right now. It's still relatively early in the season. I know it's December and the wind and rain is swirling and we're nearly getting towards that really busy time of the season. But if you look at the table between 6th place and 16th, there's only 6 points. So it really is so tight. And I think now it's go time for Leicester, for Southampton. There's games here that they can win. Both teams, I think, will go into tonight thinking we can win this game, which is dangerous on one hand, but I think will prove for a very exciting, open, entertaining game here at St Mary's. But yeah, I think both sets of managers and players and fans will just be feeling, yeah, it's time to kick on now. We've got the players, we've had some good performances individually and as a team unit. Now is the time to really move on. And ahead of the festive period, I think Saints and Leicester will be looking at the next few games and thinking we've got to win a couple to push ourselves further up the table. So exciting, but on the other side of it, a few defeats, and I think a few people will start getting worried for both Leicester and Southampton. So really, really pivotal point of the season for both of these teams.
Yeah, it hasn't been the best start to the season for Leicester, Dean, a team with aspirations of the top 4. If you had to pick out a few of their strengths and their weaknesses, what would they be?
Well, I think they're a victim of their own success, Steve, to be honest. I think they've been fantastic over the last few seasons. And but, you know, their strengths are their attacking threat. If you look at their attacking players in Harvey Barnes, in James Maddison, Jamie Vardy, Lookman, Patson Daka's come into the football club and done very well. They have huge options, and all those players bring different attributes and different abilities: pace, power, trickery. And James Maddison's just starting to come into a bit of form after a very inconsistent start and a real dip of form and dip in confidence as well. Jamie Vardy's still scoring goals even at his age, so he's a real threat. So their attacking prowess of Leicester, is fantastic. It really, really is. And when that's on song and in flow, it's very difficult to stop because their movement's very, very good. But weakness-wise, defensively, they've got a real problem. I think this season they've conceded 23 goals already. They've lost 5 games already, which is not like them. They've been really inconsistent for the Leicester City that we all know, and very vulnerable from defensive set pieces. So you look at James Ward-Prowse's delivery tonight. I think that could play a major part in the game. And obviously, when Leicester have the ball, they're quite expansive and they're quite an open team. So when they turn over possession, they're quite open. So if you look at players like Nathan Teller and Redmond, if we can get them balls, and that's what I mean in one-on-one situations, Southampton on the counter-attack. So attacking-wise, Leicester brilliant, defensively vulnerable at the moment.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, before we come to you both for your score predictions, we're going to head back to social media just one final time to read through a couple more comments. They're too good to miss, really. We've got this one here from David, and he says, hello from a cold northern Spain. I can't imagine it's colder than here, David. He says, a lot of optimism in the comments. Let's hope it turns into a win. Yeah, great to see all the positivity online. Moses on Facebook, my dream lineup, hashtag Teller and the flame emojis. And another one here from Danny on Twitter. Hello, go to you. He says, the magician starts, hashtag Teller. Absolutely loving all these comments coming in from you. Thanks for sending those in. Joe, let's come to you for your score prediction first then. Obviously, the Saints coming into this game off the back of 2 losses, but they'll certainly be looking to get back to winning ways tonight. So what scoreline are you going for this evening?
I'm going to be positive and go 2-1 to Southampton. I think, listen to Dean there. The more I listened to him, the more positive I was getting with especially the set piece situations. Ward-Prowse whipping it in. Leicester very vulnerable defensively. They create a lot of chances as well. So as I said, I think it'll be an open, entertaining game. But if Saints can start well and get the first goal here, that's going to be crucial tonight. I think the crowd will get going. I was at the Burnley game earlier in the season. The fans are desperate for success, desperate to get behind this young, exciting attacking team. And I really like the lineup, as a lot of the viewers there are saying, with Redmond and Teller, a lot of attacking intent. So I think if Saints go for it, they'll get the rewards. 2-1 to Southampton.
Now, Dean, I'm rooting for you to get off the mark and join Adam Leach at the top of the Saints live table. How do you think the match is going to go, and what's your score prediction?
Cheers. Thanks, Steve. I'm glad you care, mate. Thank you.
I do.
Look, like Joe just said, I think if Southampton can play with that energy, compress Leicester, put them under pressure, not allow them to settle, they will get opportunities tonight. They really, really well. And if Southampton can be defensively strong, which we've seen this season, we've mentioned the clean sheets, been performing very, very well at home, then I think Southampton have got a real chance of winning tonight. And I think that would be a fantastic result. So I think there will be goals. So I'm going to go for... But I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go 1-0 Southampton. But I hope there's goals and I'm wrong again.
Oh, okay. Well, I like the sound of both of those. Dean, Joe, thank you ever so much for your input. As always, we will see you after the game. As we've been saying, Leicester are the opponents for tonight's match. Under lights here at St Mary's, and a very exciting starting lineup for Southampton. Looking forward to this one, Steve.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've got a pair of great seats to watch the match, so I'm going to be getting comfy, trying to steal your water bottle and hoping for 3 points tonight. Absolutely.
We'll make sure you join us after the match for all the analysis of the match's major talking points. We'll be live straight after the final whistle on the final whistle, so make sure you join us then.